Greetings, my fellow good men. I like to think of myself as a bit of a history connoisseur. Not because I have a degree, or even because I know the birthday of the Austrian painter, but because I have over 1000 hours in a World War II strategy game. Thanks to that, I now possess encyclopedic knowledge of every major government decision Afghanistan made during the Second World War. Which
What
is
are you
to
doing?
say, none of it was relevant, but
What are
I
you
still
doing?
know it.
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
But I wasn't always like this. Once upon a time, my history teacher hated me. My grades were so low they could legally be classified as victims of a pump and dump scheme. I had to do something extracurricular to fix that, and I did, after which my grades went up and my virginity went down.
Everything.
Today we will be discussing a game I have rage quit more times than blue-haired girls have wrist scars. Manor Lords is a city building simulator, except instead of skyscrapers and oil rigs, you're constructing wooden shacks and mines that have more safety regulations than Chinese factories. The game is set in the 15th century, a glorious time when femboys were exclusively accessible to priests and the Pope, and boiling water could get you accused of witchcraft, sentenced and burned alive in the town square. You play as a lord, graciously gifted a small patch of land by your king, possibly because he didn't want it. Your task is to expand, conquer, and survive, which, historically speaking, is about as easy as escaping North Korea. You start with 5 families and a handful of resources depending on difficulty. Families can be assigned to jobs, but any unassigned families will default to building things and guiding the ox, which is medieval speak for slowly walking behind a giant cow and praying it goes where you want it to. At the start, I always build another hitching post and order a second ox. Why? Because in order to build anything, unassigned families have to haul resources around, and one of those resources are logs. Logs are too heavy to be carried by people, so they always have to be hauled by oxen. Having two at the start basically doubles your construction speed. It's like medieval Amazon Prime, except your packages arrive in mint condition. After the hitching post, your next move is a logging camp. This will provide you with a steady supply of food for future buildings, and also kickstart global warming.
Why do birds suddenly appear?
Next up is food. You'll be hunting and depending on your luck, you will also get fish or berries. Berries are infinitely more superior than fish, because you can turn them into dyes and then clothes, which are required to expand your village. The game has 3 different maps to play on, each with their own visual style. Your starting region will have different resource deposits and varying land fertility for farming. If you're playing the Rise to Prosperity scenario, these differences don't matter much. But in the other two scenarios, it's different. If you don't have rich deposits of salt, copper or iron, and fertile lands to grow barley and wheat, you're going to lose harder than the court did during Didi's trial. If you had bad luck with your starting location, don't worry. You can simply quit to the main menu and try again. Because medieval life is all about save scamming. Once the food situation has been stabilized, or at least delayed until future generations have to deal with it, it's time to build homes. If you want more families, you need to keep your villagers happy enough to leave you 5-star reviews, so other peasants will move in.
Hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country.
Of course, they'll only do this if there are free houses available. Each house can be upgraded to increase its family capacity and give them space to grow vegetables or brew alcohol, which is basically the medieval equivalent of convincing them to stay, by giving them beer. There are 3 house levels, each more demanding than the last. At level 1, the inhabitants will expect two different types of food: a church, a well, firewood, and clothing. Clothing can be as simple as leather from animal hides, which is good, because you'll probably have a lot of those after butchering every deer in the region.
Hi, Chaz.
If you fail to meet these needs, your approval rating will drop. Over 50% approval, new families will move in. Below 25%, families will emigrate, presumably to a lord who doesn't let them starve to death in a wooden box. Of course, for families to actually have access to food and clothing, you'll need to build a market and assign workers to distribute goods. And yes, you can also free roam your village to admire your unquestionable leadership. Unfortunately, sometimes the game teleports you into the middle of nowhere. You can clip through some buildings, but not others, because reasons, and your movement speed is so slow you lose interest after taking 2 steps. To win in the first scenario, you'll need to raise your settlement level. Every time you do, you get a point to spend in an unfinished skill tree. Some upgrades are genuinely useful, like plow or deep mines, while others are scams, like honey, who produces enough honey to feed 3 families with tax exemptions. After upgrading a house to level 2, you'll notice the residents' needs have doubled.
But I want it now!
Now they'll demand a bigger church, more clothing, and worst of all, a working tavern. From my observations, the game takes place somewhere in Bavaria, but it feels more like Birmingham, UK. Because if you go a single month without supplying beer to level 2 or 3 plots, your approval rating will plummet, harder than the stock market under the Trump administration. Producing alcohol requires barley, and this is where the plow upgrade shines. With it you can assign 2 families and 2 oxen to handle 3 fields, each no larger than 1 morgen, a medieval German unit of land measurement from the Holy Roman Empire, which roughly translates to the amount of land you can plow before you get bored and start drinking. Crops grow from spring to fall, but summer might hit you with a drought that wipes out more than half your harvest and sets you up for a cheerful little famine in winter. Once your barley is ready, you'll need a malt house to process it into malt, then convert a level 2 house into a brewery. This permanently removes the family inside from your manpower pool, because they're too busy getting the entire village drunk to be useful anywhere else. This is why fertile land is so important. If you don't have it, your best bet is to take the rye upgrade and start selling resources like salt, roof tiles and tools to earn regional wealth, which you can then use to buy alcohol, because in this game, much like real life, keeping the population drunk is often the key to staying in power. After all that, you'll discover your peasants now demand a different type of clothing, because apparently medieval fashion trends were just as fickle as modern ones. To make it, you'll need berries, which get turned into dyes, and wool, which gets spun into yarn. If you're feeling fancy, you can buy an upgrade that lets you breed sheep, provided you have at least 2. But here's the thing, one sheep can supply clothing for roughly 400 people, so breeding them is about as necessary as a second appendix, and selling them is not nearly as profitable as selling salt. To get sheep in the first place, you'll need to import them from a livestock trading post. And if your starting region has fish instead of berries, congratulations. You'll also need to import dyes from a regular trading post. Both require regional wealth, which you can gain from exports and from taxes automatically collected each month from level 2 and 3 houses. One more fun fact, mines are not infinite, unless you buy the deep mine upgrade, and even then the resource deposit has to be rich enough for the upgrade to apply. If it's not, well, enjoy your slow march toward bankruptcy. Also, to actually produce clothes, you'll need to convert another level 2 house. Good luck complaining you don't have enough families.
Your biggest turn off.
If you've made it this far, you've probably started building more complex structures, and quickly realized just how agonizingly slow the process is. I once waited over 10 minutes just for wood to be cut, only to then wait another 10 minutes for the actual building to be finished. In the meantime, I decided to watch something on my second monitor, which was a mistake, because while I was busy educating myself on the woman's anatomy, I completely failed to notice a group of armed men jogging toward my town, which resulted in their death, and my trading post destroyed. Once you've survived that headache, congratulations. You can finally upgrade a house to level 3, which, as soon as you learn, comes with its own delightful list of new demands, and the distinct feeling that your villagers are conspiring to unionize. Level 3 is the maximum tier for housing, and as such it comes with all the demands of a spoiled medieval landlord. These houses require 4 different types of food: meat, fish or berries, bread from crops, vegetables, eggs and apples grown in backyards. Level 3 houses are actually pretty great. They pay more taxes, feed more families, and somehow eat less food. So, I recommend upgrading them as soon as possible. Once you meet the requirements to raise your settlement to large town, the first scenario ends in victory.
Darling, why so sad? Oh, my poor baby. You know, I can fix that one.
At this point, you'll probably think, wow, that was fun. I should try the second scenario. And because of that naive optimism, you will suffer like I did. The second scenario is basically the first, except now you're constantly assaulted by bandits and another lord is actively stealing your land. Your objective is to beat him and take his territories. To do this, you'll need an army. You might be tempted to convert houses into weapon manufacturers right away, but I advise against it. Equipment can be purchased from the trading post. If you're lucky enough to have a rich deposit of clay, salt or iron, congratulations. You've just unlocked medieval capitalism. Upgrade it to a deep mine and watch your regional wealth skyrocket. If it's salt, just sell it. If it's clay, turn it into roof tiles. If it's iron, turn it into steel, then tools. Do this for the largest profit. But remember, to export goods you'll need to buy a trade route, and optionally a horse to increase efficiency. Once you've cornered the market like a feudal Jeff Bezos, you have about 60 days before the first bandit attack. So start buying weapons for your militia. Each militia type requires different gear: sidearms, small shields, big shields, spears, and polearms. And each of these requires its own trade route. I highly recommend buying the upgrade that halves trade route prices. Also, invest in armor to make your militia less like cannon fodder and more like slightly delayed cannon fodder. Defeating bandits earns you influence, which you can spend to claim new regions. But beware, the Baron, your main rival, can do the same. There's a trick though. Every time he claims a region, you can challenge it. Normally, this means settling the dispute on the battlefield. But instead, you can go into the diplomacy menu and simply pay him 500 pounds of air to drop the claim. It works every time.
Give me that.
No, sir, thanks.
I'm asking you, give me that.
No, thanks.
Please give me.
I told you no.
Kindly requesting you. Give
I
me.
said no.
Asking you last time.
No.
Give me that. Give me. Give me.
At some point, the king will impose taxes on you. There's no real punishment for tax evasion here, but in this scenario it's actually a bad idea. You need that money to buy and upgrade heavy infantry. Militia are decent, but heavy infantry are better trained, better equipped, and significantly better at killing things. You unlock them by building a manor. With a tower upgrade, you can field up to 24 per region. To have more, you'll need to colonize neighboring regions, build another manor with a tower, and spend even more money to outfit them. Whatever you do, ignore bows and crossbowmen. Their arrows are apparently made of plastic and deal no damage. Instead, get more infantry militia. If you're unsure of your army's strength, you can hire mercenaries to help. They're not cheap though. Every month they demand the full hiring cost again, and sometimes none are available at all. After fully leveling up your first region, you might run into a small issue. And by small, I mean a catastrophic civilization-ending crisis. Food. With over 30 level 3 houses, each holding 4 families, your village will slowly transform into UN famine relief territory, faster than you can say agricultural reform. Unless you're role-playing the average country in Africa, I suggest you fix it. How? I have no idea. This is why I personally rush the Baron as soon as possible.
Man, the man is killing us, man.
Over. Kufuna bulungi.
Bless the bomb over.
Kibira kyali kikwafu katusooke tusapuleko.
Drop the bomb, man.
Muno tumufunye. Katumulonde.
In one game, I turned an entire region into farmland. But even that wasn't enough. First, your peasants will whine about alcohol, then food, and this time you simply won't have enough to go around. My strategy is to fully upgrade your first town so every house is level 3. Raise the largest militia the game will physically allow, including heavy infantry, then impose a 20% tax rate so you get enough personal will to hire every mercenary company available. With any luck, that'll be enough to crush the Baron and end the campaign before your entire settlement collapses from starvation. Strategy in this game is about as complex as a crow solving a puzzle meant for a 5-year-old. The meta is basically wait in a line until the enemy bumps into you and dies. One thing to remember is that you get a bonus when fighting in your home region. This can genuinely carry a battle, and the Baron knows it. He'll exploit it shamelessly, making his troops fight better than yours even when you're certain you had the advantage. Personally, I send my militia straight into the mid-grinder, then use my heavy infantry to flank from behind and encircle the enemy. This works sometimes. Other times the Baron just has more heavy infantry than I do, which means my brilliant tactic turns into dying slightly slower. The AI is also delightfully stupid. I've seen it use archers as frontline infantry and infantry as archers.
Say my name is Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Say my name is. Say me here. Say my name is Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Say my name is Beetlejuice,
My name is Beetlejuice.
and I'm going upstairs
I'm going upstairs to get laid.
to learn how to get laid.
To learn how to get laid.
That's all. My name is Beetlejuice,
Okay.
and I'm going upstairs to learn how to get laid.
Okay.
That's let me say that.
Okay.
Right here.
I learned how to go upstairs.
One last tip: avoid fighting in forests. The terrain screws with formations, visibility, and your ability to tell whether you're winning or just participating in a very expensive camping trip. Also, keep an eye on unclaimed regions. Sometimes random bandit camps will spawn there. These hold about 18 bandits and can be cleared out easily, giving you wealth to help fund your heavy infantry. And if you're wondering about the third game mode, don't. It's basically the first scenario, except once a year bandits show up to burn your village to the ground if you don't have an army. Overall, I don't recommend buying this game. Yes, it's good, yes, it's fun, if you play it once a week, in small doses, like medieval methadone. But it's in early access, and the last update was 7 months ago. My personal theory is that the devs took one look at how much money the game made and decided to vanish into the woods, like tax evaders. Unless it gets an update that isn't just a bug patch, I suggest you steer clear and play something else.
Welcome to Liberty Civic Association show. My name's Frank Monahan. Tonight I have two really cool guys and nice guys. To my left is a man that has only been introduced to me as They will not give me his name.